It's interesting to see. It's different, but it's similar to now, and I think there's probably more comedians now than there ever were. But you're all all competing as well as supporting each other. I mean, there's a lot of stories, and this doesn't happen so much anymore. There's a lot of stories about people nicking each other's acts. I mean, you used someone acts the first time you went on because you didn't have an act.
I had to.
You didn't have an act. So.
I got to the Metropole, Blackpool, Butlins, to do the winter.
Yes.
This was after the second summer. And I got a job doing the winter, you see, and I played the drums, and it was fine. But I was very strong as a Red, so I was already house captain and leading Red. So I got this job, and I arrived, and although the summer Reds are gone, the winter Reds hadn't arrived, except Freddie Davis, Parrot Face.
Yes.
He had arrived, but he was on honeymoon, and the other comedian wasn't there. And so I walked in, and the guy said, "Oh, my God, thank you. Do you do an act?" I said, "No." "Oh, you must do it. I've got to have an act. I haven't got a comedian." And we got a new influx of people in. About 300, 400 people in the hotel. Could have been more. Anyway, I've got a show to do. I said, "No." I said, "I know an act." Because I'd sat playing the drums for the Redcoat show for 2 years for a lad called Ricky McCabe did his act and never changed a word. Of course I knew it. I'm looking at it. And I said, "I know an act." He said, "Well, you have to do it." He said, "I need it. I need somebody." So they put me on top of it. I'd never done it before. Right. I was top of the bill. It was only an hour show. Yes. And it was only about 12 minutes. But I did it. And he said, "Fabulous." That was the Friday night. He said, "Same tomorrow night." I said, "What? No, I'm not doing it." He said, "You've got to. We got a changeover." So we got a new audience. So the Saturday night I did it, and now it went quite well. Yeah. I came off, and the girl said, "That was fabulous, Johnny." "Oh, the new comics arrived, Ricky McCabe." I said, "Oh, God." And I'd done his act because I had to.
Yeah.
It wasn't a theft, and it was. And so I went straight to Ricky, who was my mate, real best mate. And I said, "I've just done your act." So he said, "Have you done?" I said, "Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did. You've done a lot." I said, "I told you. I've done that." So we wrote together a new act for him. And he forgave me completely. Yeah. Not only did he forgive me, Ricky became a great, great friend.
That's good.
Helped me write my first actual act, and the haircut gags,
Yeah.
And so he gave me a sideways cut. Came up this side like a man's in front. Came down at this side like a woman's behind, like the back of a woman. It's very nice.
Yeah.
I was back 3 days later. I said, "You've got to change this to sideways cut." He said, "Why?" I said, "I'm fed up people coming up and whispering up my nose." And that was the end of the first routine, and Ricky wrote that for me. Yeah. But he then, at the end of that season, the third season, I became a comic. He retired as a comic and joined the agent, Mike Hughes' agency, and joined Mike Hughes. And he said, "You'd be great in children's television."
Right.
It was Ricky, and he was my bait all the way through until he died quite young, really.
Okay.
And that happened. So I'm doing radios with the other comics.
Yeah.
Say with Mike Yarwood, with Les, Freddie Davis, and a few others, and doing regular Blackpool Night and things like that. So in the winter, you do about at least one a month, and you do about 5 or 6 in the winter, And they said, "Oh, there's BBC are looking for somebody from the north." Crackerjack. He said, "That's what I thought." So I go for this job. And in 2 minutes, I know I've got this job. And he said, "Oh, you're going to be wonderful in play school." I said, "What's play school?" He said, "It's on BBC Two, 11 o'clock in the morning for under fives." We didn't have BBC Two. It's only the second year of BBC Two. I'm off out the door. Yeah. So he dragged me back and persuaded me to do it. So I did the audition, and people will tell you in the business, you can always get the jobs you don't want. You always can get jobs you don't want. And I didn't want this. And I did it, and they persuaded me to do it. And I realized, because I'd done a few televisions, and I was very raw in understanding how to work television.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, at least I'll learn a television studio.
Yeah.
So I did it, and I only stayed for 17 years. And Les said, "What are you playing at, John?" Les Dawson said to me, "What are you playing at, John?" I said, "No, I like it." And the integrity of the people who did it were fine because it was for under fives. It wasn't for adults. So when I did the clubs, still doing that play school, John, I said, yeah, still watching it, are you? And if they heckled me, get back to play school. Right, another word from you, you're going through the square window. And that was for me. And I handled it brilliantly, and loved the club.